So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, to our men's race finals. It is the end of the month, the end of May. Can't quite believe where has the time gone. We've had some exciting qualifiers and we've got a cracking race route as we head to Japan for the Dragon's Nest course. Emma, this promises to be a bit of a fiery one today.
It does indeed. The dragons will be breathing fire and the riders' legs will be on fire as well, because it's 47 kilometres, 512 metres of climbing, and you can see it's a flat run out of the start pen for about 1.2 kilometres until they hit the first bump in the road. Then they go through the Kyoto sprint and descend then towards the first climb of the day. The first time up the Dragon's Nest climb. It's a 2 kilometre climb with an average gradient of 8.8%. Do not let that deceive you. It goes over 15% in places. They then drop down the other side through the Tokyo sprint over the rolling midpoint section in this men's race before they drop and do the Dragon's Nest climb again. Is then a fairly flat run to the finish of 9.4 kilometres. Expect groups to come together and there may well be a sprint.
Well, it's time to look at our riders who are going to be taking on that course and hopefully got their sprint legs engaged. Because this is the finals, it is a team competition as well. 3 riders to count, and great to see the Wheelies Racing squad with their teams down on the start list. They've got 2 squads, in fact, in categories. It's Wheelies Racing 1 with Gazelle, Wolf and Sebza, and Wheelies Racing 2, Nilsson, Lanadora, Mazaris and Sharp are taking to the race start. They're up and away. They're out from the pens. Will it be a really good day for them? Or, I know, I'm really sorry about that. Will it be a really good day for them? Or will they find that the punctures and the deflation that could come with not taking a team win?
Well, Tom Harvey is off the front at the moment, absolutely dialing this out of the pen, getting the pace up really, really quick, because Alexander Fielder is the rider chasing, and Sebsa, Vass, Bianchi, Lloyd, Kaluro is in there. Ian Lloyd had a great race last week, can we just say. Fabulous to see him back in the top 5. Took 4th place last week on that endurance climb. Fabulous, fabulous racing. Now, the team competition in category 6 this month. BMC Startup took the win last month. Spinergy were in second. I think those 2 teams are going to have a hard time with level, because Level Beginning are on form this month as well. Fiedler taking a 1st, Lloyd taking a 4th, and Jerome Smith taking a 4th as well. They're joined by Mamba and Hutter. So for me, it is those 3 teams: Spinergy, Winfield, Abbott, Demanuan and Obtruba. Demanuan is riding really strongly. And BMC Startup, Milano took a 5th. Orego Gomez took a 3rd, and the young rider Riley Milostic took a 4th place. Orego and Toro joined them. I think this could be really strong for them. And can I just say congratulations to Francisco Sobrino, who has achieved the progression to category 5 this month.
Congratulations, sir. Let's see who is going to put down a promotion-worthy performance. It's time for our riders to hit the first of our climbs. This is an uncategorized climb. Basically, the Dragon's Nest climb twice are the only 2 categorized climbs. We have 3 sprints today, with that Kyoto sprint coming at the other side of this rise, then the top of the plateau, and then the fall after, before we drop down into the Dragon's Nest climb for the first time. Category 6, the first riders to hit this climb, and this climb, do not be deceived, it is pretty tough because it does come so soon out of the start.
Yes.
It comes basically, you get into the descent, and the flat section at the top is part almost of the uphill as you run into that 2K marker, which is where you start to drop down properly. Riders seem to be in the over the top. Now, one man who should know this course off by heart was Czech Sebza, one of the great men, and great to see. I'm absolutely loving the UAE team cap and the Maglia Rosa, the pink jersey of the Giro d'Italia. And the UAE are having a stunning Giro. I have watched, I think, every kilometre just about one way or another whilst doing homework and doing some prep work. But fantastic to see that he's there and even got the team bottle as well. So great to see Sebsa in action. Now, will he look as cool when he gets to the finish? Will that Maglia Rosa be matched by the colour of his face, or will he more a shade of Chiclamino?
Well, I personally think sartorial elegance on a bike are one of the nice things in life.
I was going to make a comment
Please don't.
about the volume of different jerseys I've seen on your internet feed. Cycling jerseys I've seen on the internet feed.
Anybody who follows me, and you can follow me at biking_Emma on Instagram, will know I like a brightly coloured jersey.
And anybody, I guess, who's seen you on the training on MyWhoosh on the live training as well?
Yep, I do like a brightly coloured jersey. I like a bit of colour on the bike, and I like a nice sock as well.
Okay. With Emma's wardrobe discussion over in terms of riding, let's join the riders at the start line of Category 5. You can see again, our teams are in here. Lots of teams taking to a race start. The team I really would like to focus on, though, is the Cycling District 5 squad. Carlos Morato, Francisco Sobrino, Christoph Larsno, Luis Silva, and Pavelis Sicilians. They are a squad, Cycling District, who are absolutely nailing this getting riders together, getting that sense of community and really supporting the riders with DSs. And I think that's going to be really, really key. Will it work for them today? Well, we've got to hope so. And with Luis Silva in the team, and he's got the boss man in there as well. It's going to be tough. Let's get these riders up and away. We're in with Brent Sensing at the moment, who is part of that BMC Get Racing squad. As they leave the start, they start critical. They've got to be in it in the right place at the right time if you want to be in at the finish. So as our riders head out from the pens, heading out onto the course proper, you can see they actually come straight through from one side to another of a sprint section, which they'll be taking on a little bit later on as they go out onto this first loop, heading towards that climb. Category 5, Emma. This is there's some amazing riders in here, not least of which for me is Jeff Rooney, who has been drumming up support for what
planning
is Everesting June.
Everesting.
Yes, even been doing some testing as well.
Well, I know he's planning his next Everesting, and what can I say? But Jeff, congratulations and well done. I hope you get a good squad together. Now, Mohamed Mukhtari, the rider on our screen at the moment, can I just say he had a phenomenal race last weekend, and I hope he's recovered well because this is a very different type of course, but one that he can still show his climbing prowess on. He finished second last week on the endurance climbing Category 5. Fabulous racing from him. Now, I think he's part and parcel of one of at least 5 teams that could well be in the mix for the team competition in Category 5. It is wide open as we see Matthew Hooker dialing it through the sprint.
So let's dive in with those teams. Putting down some serious power there, trying to make sure that he scores maximum points. 3-point scoring opportunities, Kyoto sprint that we've just seen. We then go through the Tokyo sprint twice, with that last sprint really late in the day, coming at 42 kilometers, 200 meters long, and that's at the 47-kilometer course today. So really, really interesting. Let's see who is going to take this out. At the moment, I think now that's going to take away some big point scores there.
Well, the riders pushing on strongly. Category 5, Mark Tong takes up the mantle. Mark Dadson, Oswald Chivari there as well. But they're pushing on and continuing to drive here. They're on the short climb from the start here. We said at about 1.2 kilometres the first climb came on the course today. It's not a categorised climb, but it is a climb where the push can come. And the push is coming on here strongly in Category 5. The pack, well, they are all still together, though they may be split slightly. Jeff Rooney is in there, Florian Dromard, Rudolf Bertrand is in there. We drop in with Jeff Rooney at the screen. Oh, look at the stars behind him. He is a star amongst many.
He is indeed, and it's great to see Jeff. I mean, he's just coming over the top of the climb in the middle of the lead group here. One big pack in Category 5 after that first little test of the legs. You can see it's almost a false flat as you go over the very top of it into this actual section that drops you down. But I have to say, Jeff nicely over there tucked into that group. The close racing here, really making our riders work hard all the way around the race route here. Can we just drop in back in with the teams, Emma, that we were just talking about? And I know it's a bit of a rewind.
Go on then.
Going back in through. In terms of team wins, I know you're always really interested in terms of the timings between teams. Category 5 teams, they are generally close because there is quite a bit of movement in there.
Yes, I mean, there is quite a lot of movement Category 5 going up and down, as we see. And we see people progress to Category 4, which is fabulous. We see riders coming up from Category 6. And there is quite a lot of movement. But do you know what? For me, last month, the Level Avengers took the win. They are on form. Cavaria's had a first and a fourth, and Villada's had a second and a fourth. So they could well be in the mix again.
Let's see if it goes to form. In our Category 4 race, you can see the teams on your screens. A real mix of teams, lots with 3 or 4 riders. One team to highlight, though, there is one team that has 5 riders, and that is the Anzacs team with an on-form Dylan Kennett. In that team, I think they're going to be a very strong team indeed. 5 different nations represented by the 5 riders in the Anzacs. In Category 4, will they be the riders at the front? Can they use that superior numbers that they have to their advantage? We will have to find out. There's some strong teams in there. Emma, Category 4, have we a firm favourite according to the numbers rather than just, the heads rather than hearts score?
Yeah, so Category 4, we've got 54 riders on the start sheets today, 9 teams. It was On the Rivet Racing who took the win last month from BMC Racing. I think that could be different this month because if we go back to the numbers and we go back to the form, for me, the Anzacs have got to be right at the top of the list. And I say that because Dylan Kennett's had a first and a third. That first place came in the second qualifier of the month on the Belgium course. On the Liwa Desert course. 50 kilometres, 351 metres of climbing. Strong performance there. He also took a third place in Belgium at the beginning of the month in qualifier 1. These shorter, sharper, punchier courses really, really suit him. Part and parcel of the team, he's also got Almeida on there. He's took a second place in qualifier 2. Stevenson took the win on the endurance climb last week. So 3 really strong climbers. The Anzacs, for me, could indeed be really strong. Peak Power Racing, Scolari's had a first, Trujillo's had a fifth, Roca's had a third, and Van der Zandt's had a fourth. Every single member of that team has podiumed top 5 this month. They too, for me, should be right in the mix today. And in fact, there is Almeida on our screens.
Well, no pressure on any of our teams, much honest. I'm sure you're all piling on yourselves because, of course, it is team week. 3 riders in the team time. They're the fastest 3 riders that you have. Their times added together. And the fastest team time taking top spot, second fastest taking second, and so on. You can find all of the rules. You can download those along with the road book from MyWhoosh.com. Make sure you jump on board. Make sure you get the latest version of MyWhoosh. You're on there and jump on board and get riding and hopefully get racing. You never know, you might be in this Category 4 race as it explodes up a climb here. You might be you on the front, handing it out as you go up a climb in the month of June. We've got some great racing, some great race routes heading your direction. So whether you're a spectator who has subscribed or whether you are a rider, make sure that you are ready for the race action. Now, Brian White on our screens.
He is indeed. And Brian White, one of those riders who has come up to Category 4 from Category 5 after taking the win there on a number of occasions and putting in some really strong performances where it really does get steep and long. He is a really strong rider when it comes to a long climb. He's part and parcel of the mix here, and he's well positioned in this pack at the moment. The pace is high here. It's around 40 kilometres an hour. They're 2k in. They're at the top of the first climb today, and after the descent, we head to the first sprint.
We do, and positioning is going to be key here. There's 1 or 2 riders who have been distanced. Brighton White, I mean, he has, as you say, his moved to Category 4 from Category 5, where in the finals last time out in the yes, he actually took the win, didn't he?
And really strong performance.
Yeah, really good on that tough course. But his other wins have been Pasadena Alta Big Climb, Downtown LA course, though, which he was racing on the Rampage Racing. He took a win actually there. So, okay, it's not the Sunday Race Club, but still putting plenty of race time out. And he's a rider who likes winning. If we actually go to the Sunday Race Club, he has got a win in Belgium in qualifier race number 4 back in 2024, just around Christmas.
There you go, short, sharp, punchy climbs as well as long drags. Now, Labsno is here. Christoph Labsno is here on the screen at the moment in Category 5. He's putting a big push on the front of that Category 5 pack as we drop in with the Category 3 race field. They're in the start pen.
They are indeed. It's time to be down there if you are going to be heading out onto our race route. Lots of our big teams coming back once again. Great to see, though, the level golden squad in here. One of our teams, 3 teams, in fact, with 5 riders. The What's Up team, the Los Rodillons team with 5, and the level golden squad, which contains the one and only Eric Rimbaud, coach on MyWhoosh. He's joined by Christopher Morgan, Juan Philo, Ole Sola, and Zach Patterson. Can Golden Boy and his teammates make it a golden day in our May monthly final? Can they take away top spot in the race? Can they take away top team? Time to find out. Time to go racing in Category 3 here on the Dragon Nest race route here in Japan. Category 3.
Our biggest race field today.
And one, I think, that always entertains. I have to say, Category 3, now I did say in the women's show that it's a very transitory category. And I think it's less so
in the
men's. And it seems to me to be one of the hardest race categories because not only have you got the volume of riders, but you've got some incredible riders. Johan Moreno, Rick Van Aert, Mohamed Alami in there, Pierre Fell. Pretty much you pick any name. You could use it, stick this on your dartboard, throw a dart at it, and any of the names are going to be in there.
I think there are some similarities with the women's. I don't think it's as transitory as the women's, but Tom Walker and Nico Kansara are chasing down the road because Golden Boy himself is leading the charge. Eric Rimborg has done a flyer out of the start pen today.
He'd do anything for TV time.
Oh, great job. Anybody who follows Eric Rimborg on social media will know exactly what we are talking about. The golden glasses, the Golden Boy, putting in the work, doing a golden job here on the front, absolutely nailing it. Now, just coming back to Category 3 and what Matt was saying about the comparator with the women's Category 3. We were talking about the women's Category 3 being really transitory. The men's, I think, much less. But what I do think is very, very similar between the men's and the women's Category 3 is that there is a very small range between the top and the bottom of Category 3. It's a very tightly packed field with tightly packed ability. We've got Nicholas Arrego, Ivo Sur and Walter Clays on our screens at the moment. Very, very well matched riders in this race field. Clays, for me, is a really smart rider. You don't normally see him until the very end of the race when he pops up and drops in for a top 5 position. He's very, very smart. Ivo Sur, we know he's normally there or thereabouts. He's the rider we're following at the moment and whose stats are on your screen. Nicholas Arrego, you can see that up and out the saddle. Like Clays, whereas Sur stays firmly sat down. They're on the climb at the moment at 1.5 kilometres. And the power is strong here. They're trying to break the group, but they're not going to. I don't think we're going to see anybody dropped at this point in the race. We're just seeing a bit of a stretch of the legs. Kansara, Barrett, Oya, Oliviera, all in here. And it's still Rimborg on the front.
Well, you got to keep the power down. You want to be up at the front. You don't want to get caught out by a split. You don't want to have to go chase through the gap, because although we are climbing, we're still doing over 30 kilometers an hour, which is really, really a key, because that means that you're getting a big, big draft advantage over the top. They go 36 kilometers an hour over the top of the climb. Meanwhile, let's dive in with category 4, because Nicholas Spratt has gone for an absolute flyer on the downhill. This 9 kilometer marker. He's well into this descent. They've been through that Kyoto sprint, and now we're on the big descent. He drops down to the flatlands at the bottom.
This
and
is
I'll tell you
dangerous.
something. If you get down to the bottom with enough of a gap, it's going to make your job on the Dragon's Nest climb just that little bit easier.
Well, Nicholas Spratt's taken a second place already this month, so we're looking forward to seeing how he performs. But he's doing a great job here off the front, absolutely nailing it at the 6.4 kilometre marker. And look at that, exactly the same. Christoph Labno's now got 6 seconds on the category 5 group as well.
And you don't want to discount any of these riders who are going for a fly, because it's not like there's kilometers and kilometers, endless kilometers of flat in between. Once we climb the Dragon's Nest climb, you've got probably the longest, flattest section is between there and then the mini climb, the bumps that go over. I mean, they're bigger than that little initial riser that we went over, that we've seen everybody out of the saddle for.
Well, also, don't discount the team competition here and the team tactics at play. You know, Spratt, part and parcel of BMC Racing, who took second place in the team competition last month. Pino is there, Giuliano is there, and Cadiz is there as part and parcel of that team. And I can tell you, they are all 4 of them superb racers in chance with the top 5 today. And if Spratt has gone down the road early, there's a plan at play.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Now, I'm going to say, whilst just got Vladimir Toro up on the front there and around the top, great racing in the Giro. Watch the Giro, watch the Giro, watch the Giro, because we've got, we saw the first Mexican Giro wearer of the Maglia Rosa in Isaac Del Toro. I am wondering whether he's related.
Well, I'll leave you to continue wondering that. But at the moment, this Category 6 race is getting really good. Julio Orrego on the front here, Petro Truba, Alexander Filder, Vladimir Toro, all in the mix here. And you can see, look at that, one rider pushing on, then a big pack sat on his shoulder, and then a longer tail, a bit like the body of a dragon.
Well, will the serpentine slopes here separate the bunch? It's already breaking it apart. It is already distancing the riders. They're being deposited like dragon's eggs, falling out of the nest onto the floor, because look at this. This leading group are shedding riders, and when the riders are not in this group, they are going backwards at a rate of knots. The gaps really are opening up behind. This is the first real big selection point. It's the first chance for the riders to score points in the climbs competition. 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points available for first, second, third, fourth and fifth places respectively. Category 6 are well on the way up through that climb. Category 5 just hit the base of the climb. They're going to have to make their way up and over the top. 2 kilometers long the climb from the bottom banner to the end banner as they come steaming in here. Now, green jersey is in here. That's Mark Tong, who took the win on our first sprint ahead of Maris Fossier. Joel Warren, and then I think that's your top 3 in Category 5. And in terms of sprints in Category 6, Hooker took the win in the first sprint from Olsen and Mamba. They were the top 3 riders there. Category 4 was Speedle from Spratt from Cirillo. And Category 3, Rick Van Erck. Well, he put in a much faster time than Restrepo and Lepero to take away the top spot there. The first of the sprints, and again, scoring points are the same. 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points on the way through. Remember, there are prizes for each segment win in each category, as well as the climbs competition, which has its own prize overall, the sprint competition, which has a prize overall, and of course the top 10 places at the finish in each of our race categories awarded with prizes too. So on to the climb proper and into where it starts to bend just a little bit more. You got this left-hand turn coming up for Category 5, further up the road, though, right in the midst of the hairpin turns, right in the midst of those Dragon's Eggs. You can see Vladimir Toro leading from Whitfield. Then it's Milostic, Hoy, Milano, Arego, and Wolf on the left of your screen. Category 6 at 13.5 kilometers, just under 12.5 kilometers covered for Category 5, who are chasing at the moment. Category 4, well, they are on the run down to the coast. Once they hit that coastline, they track around for a while before cutting across the bay on that wooden bridge that leads them into the climb. So they've got a little bit of distance before they hit the start of the climb.
Well, they are indeed, and they are pushing on here at the 9.9 kilometre marker. And you can see the gradients on the top right-hand corner, the red line overlaying the map. They're just coming to the end of the descent. The rider we are with in blue, highlighted by the yellow vertical line, showing you they've just come off of the descent and are now on the flat transition before they go into the Dragon's Nest climb for the first time. Edwards, Krosnoz, Ronchetti, all towards the front. Bouhammer, the rider we are in with, is also in that group. Now, a little bit further down the road at 13.7 kilometres, the Category 6 racer coming to the top of the Dragon's Nest climb for the first time. That is the polka dot banner, and Simon Llewellyn is about to go under it first. David Winfield putting a big push in behind, so is Sebastian Wolf. They're all battling for that polka dot skin suit, but it looks like Llewellyn is going to hold it.
Let's move in to our Category 2 teams. You can see them up on your screens here today. We've got a real mix of teams, and our squads with 5 riders: the Hitmen, the Smarties, the Goats, the Gloria Victis, and the Airbus Esports squad. And the Airbus Esports squad, for me, very, very strong. Matthias Van Heet, Olivier Simmons, Paul Skirski, Maciej Skirski, and Carlos Cavajal could well be the riders to beat, but we've got some phenomenal riders across all of our race teams, as well as some individual riders as well. It's time to get racing in Category 2. Will it be the big teams with 5, or will it be our teams with 3 or 4 riders who are going to make this count? Emma, who's your pick today?
Oh, I think this is a 3-team battle today. I think this is. So the Hitmen took the win last month. Krasnich, Graves, Forsyth, Koisnen and Nair. That is a super squad. The Goats took second. Bert Kane, Nitko, Bjarhead, Khan Kane and Milostic. Another super squad. My third pick, Abus Esports. Carvajal's had a second. You've got both Skirskis in there, Masiak and Powell. You've got Matthias Van Heet, who's had a 5th, and Olivier Simmons, who we know is a sprint king in Category 2, and he could be using those powers for climbing today instead of sprinting. We will see. But for me, my pick, those 3 teams for the battle. Can I just say, last time we were on the Dragon's Nest course in Category 2, right, which was Qualifier 2 in March. We've only ever raced this once before the men.
Yes.
And that was Qualifier 2 in March 2025. In Category 2, 3 seconds separated the top 12 riders.
And for me, that in part, that is because we've got that second categorized climb with then a downhill run to the finish, and we all know downhill runs to the finish can see regroups and can see speed, and the climb is not that long. You know, the Dragon's climb is 2K.
It's a 9.4 kilometre run to the finish line from the top of the Dragon's Nest
from
climb.
From the top of a 2K climb. It's going to be close. It's going to be fast. It's going to potentially be a sprint. We will have to see who is going to be able to take that away.
A couple of other things I want to mention.
Go on in.
First of all, this is the largest race field we have ever had on a final on the Sunday Race Club. 292 riders ever. The largest race field we've had before is 265. So it shows you the differential in the men's race about how large this race field is today.
And in part, that is due to the fact that you can qualify for the final, even if you don't get your 2 qualifying rides in. It does mean, though, that you can't ride for a team. You have to have 2 qualifying rides in to take part in that team competition and to ride for a team. Now, the team that I tipped was the team of Olivier Simmons, the Abus Esports team, and Simmons is on the front at the moment, being marked by SS here very quickly indeed. The UAE Clan team rider going on to the heels of Simmons. You can see him in person on the left of your screen, dancing on those pedals at the moment, tapping out a very fast rhythm here as he makes his way up this climb. Behind him, they are fighting for the wheels at the moment. SS is the only rider within touching distance of the leader at the moment as they come up to the top. Just looking at the damage that's been done, Simmons has gone hard, but they've all gone with him.
They have. They are absolutely on his wheel. Simmons there, you can see Nico Betty, SS Santo, Holweiler. Those are the riders closing him down and getting back on the wheel. But great push. Nice move. 2.1 kilometers done. The whole pack still together.
If you've kicked and you've gone up there and you haven't broken it on climb number 1, and it is the biggest climb, okay, it's repeated, but a little bit later, which takes its effect. If you've not broken them there, is that not surely an indicator you're not going to break people on these climbs? And it's going to come to a sprint. You can almost set the race tail early.
No. I think that is a sweeping statement.
Oh, it is. It is. It was a statement come question. Okay, let's ask the question of our category 1 riders. You can see that we've got our big teams are all in here today because we have the squads now. Squads with 4 riders: Alpha Job, Boss Moves Only, the Farm Walk squad, the Union Speed squad, and the Venga Boys squad. Squads with 5 riders, though: the BZR Esports team of Paradines, Power, Melostic, Woo, and Van Els, and the Cycling District squad. They've got Alexei Coleman, Alvarado, Bird, Trajanowski, and Machado as well. There are 2 teams of 5. Boss Movers Only. In theory, if you look at the numbers, and they've got the world champion Osborne in there, you've got Michael Vink, Knudsen, and Safrasadi, they should be, by the numbers, surely the favourites. However, this is cycle racing, and we all know with bike racing, anything can happen, particularly once you throw teams into the mix. It's time to head out the pens for the final time in May on the Sunday Race Club. It's time to go racing. 47 kilometres, 512 metres of ascent. This will test our riders. It's going to be fast. Buckle up your seatbelts. Get yourselves ready. Category 1 are away.
They are indeed, and they're being led out by Lionel Vujasin at the moment. There he is, Ollie Jones, Daniel Turek, Lionel Vujasin, and Mikhail Kaminsky. They are indeed the Alpha Jaw squad, and I think, well, I've got them marked today on this course because Turek, Vujasin, Kaminsky, and Jones. Jones, can I just say, Ollie Jones, what form is he on at the moment? He's had a first, a second, and a fourth this month. Phenomenal racing. Vujasin's had 2/3. Kaminsky and Turek, well, we know they will be right in the mix. And they need to be in the mix because, as you mentioned, Matt, Boss Moves only took the win last month. Jason Osborne's had 2 firsts and a second. Knudsen's had a 5th. Vink, well, Vink's moved from New Zealand to Europe, and the times have shifted. It's going to be interesting to see. He's recovered from that move now. Safrazadi's had a 4th and a 5th. They are a tight squad. My other pick, well, this is an interesting one because last month the Farm Watch squad took 2nd place in the final. This for me is a course for them, you know, as well, because Andreasen's had a 2nd. Then there's Hayden Pucker, Josh Harris, and Mikael Plantro, who could all go well. And talking about someone who's also been going very well, Marshall Wu, BZR Esports. He's got Stefan Van Elst on the squad, who last time we were here took 5th place. He's also got Lyndon Milostic, who we know climbs really steep climbs very well. Power and Jasper Paradines, who we normally count as a sprinter, but sprinters climb these climbs well. So I'm putting a 4th squad in the mix today.
Oh, I love it when there's even more teams in the mix. And of course, you can shake this up. You can kick it down. You can put the power down. You can change it up. You can maybe attack on the downhill sections where people aren't necessarily expecting you to take the pace up to really stretch this out. At the moment, very early on, Michael Knudsen here on this first climb, looking over the on. This is Team Tactics from Boss Moves Only. Let's see who wants to chase. Let's see who is going to come. And remember, for me, one of the key things that people have a habit of forgetting, very easily done because I've done it myself, it's about a movie is not just about going away. It's about who responds. It's about who is eager for the chase, who is playing it cool and sitting back, who's feeling super confident, reading those moves. Now, our riders can't look into the eyes of their opponents. They can't see if their eyes are like the dragons, emerald green with slits in them, or whether they are like that of a cat waiting to pounce. We will have to wait and see who is going to be on form. Who is going to respond? Who has got the eagerness to chase down every move and maybe pay for it later?
Well, can I just say, one thing I do want to say before we get into this race, Leonard Tugles is back. He wasn't with us last week. Congratulations on the new family member.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, congratulations, buddy. I hope you are enjoying it and at some point get some sleep. That's the voice of experience.
Well, Stefan Van Elst on the screen at the moment. He is part and parcel of that BZR esports squad. Really, really strong rider, and he wasn't with us last week for the endurance climb, but he is back here today, and this could go well for him. He's a strong rider. Now, what's interesting is we've seen a really big push on the climb from Knudsen, and one or two riders just following him, and now we're starting to see riders just closing down that gap. Nobody's panicked. Christoph Kroll is on the front. Knudsen is there, Vujasin and Andreasen, plus Jones. The pack now all coming back together again. They've been up and over that first small bump of the day. They're heading towards the Kyoto sprint. They are all just squeezing on those pedals to get back on those wheels on this descent. It's a flat run now with some descents until they hit that Dragon's Nest climb at 11.7 kilometers. Category 1 are rolling.
They are. Now, let's just bring you a little bit of an update. I'm just going to go into Category 5 first of all. Category 5 just coming into the Tokyo Sprint. This is the first time through the Tokyo Sprint. In Category 6, it was Bain from Kozal, from Barroso, Silva and Demanion. They were the point scorers in Category 5. In Category 6, you can see that green jersey, well, it is going to be held by our leader. The Category 6 riders who come in through its Costimo Damiano, who has got the fastest time, I think, in Category 5 for that section. Damio Giorgio Mangino, the rider who took that fastest time. Peterson in second. Then I think it will be a chase from behind. I think Michael Snowy being the rider behind. However, not all about the individual segment. It's often about that actual sprint jersey for me. And with this being immediately after that climb, and most of the groups still all together as they go over the top of the climb, really interesting. As they went over the top of the Dragon's Nest climb for the first time, the three riders in Category 6 were still away as they went over the top of the climb in Dragon's Nest. And that's in Category 6. So they're the leaders on the road. They've just been through the sprint. Category 5 through the sprint. Category 4, well, they are on the way up the Dragon's Nest climb. The leaders have gone over the top. Ellis from Giuliano as they came up and over the top there. Then we've got Van der Zandt, Squilari and Marin. They round out the point scorers, but it's not all about those points as
Jeffrey
we go through
Miller
the sprint.
put in a big kick there, and it's going to be interesting to see who takes the green skin suit. Is it going to be Miller? Well, he's currently resplendent in it, so I think through the Kyoto Sprint, Category 1, yep, it is indeed Jeffrey Miller, who picks up the fastest time in Category 1, 12.457 seconds, giving him the leader in that green sprinting competition. Maciej Skierski picks up the fastest time in Category 2. Rick van Erck picks up the fastest time overall in Category 3. Christian Spiedel takes the win in Category 4. Mark Tong in Category 5. And Matthew Hooker in Category 6.
And the fastest time is that time of Rick van Erck.
Look at those sprints. They're about 13.5 watts per kilo.
Indeed, which translates as 1,138 watts for Rick van Erck through that sprint. A short sprint, 200-meter sprint.
Now,
and
can we talk a little bit about sprint power? Because there was a question on one of the feeds not very long ago questioning the 14 watts per kilo sprint from Paradians.
Was it 14 or 17? It
was 14.
Okay, go on.
Now, I done a little bit. We did some digging because the reason why we did not bulk at 14 watts per kilo or wouldn't from Jasper Paradines. Jasper Paradines is a world-class esports sprinter.
Okay.
And 14, 15 watts per kilo is not abnormal. So nothing to bulk at when you're seeing someone of that quality put that level in. But I thought I'd put it into a bit of context. Okay. So Chris Hoy.
Yep.
Estimate 2,500 watts per lap when he does a 200-meter sprint at 27 watts per kilo.
27 watts per kilo.
Yep.
And that is
even retired
yep.
recently, 3 years ago, retired, he did 22.5 watts per kilo for a lap.
And that was, in fact, was that not a sprint, a 200-meter sprint segment? So he went for a segment. So this is virtual numbers, 22.5 from. Now he is world-class sprinter, albeit retired. And this is only a few years ago. Cavendish, great sprinter. Let's go for legendary sprinters. Cavendish, great sprinter. At the end of a Tour de France stage, he's still kicking out something like 1,600 watts, isn't he?
To 2,000, yeah.
Yeah, so 2,000 at peak, 1,600 for the duration of the sprint. That's on the end of a stage, and he only weighs, what, 70 kilos?
I don't know, I haven't checked how much.
Yeah, 70 kilos, I'm pretty sure he weighs 70 kilos. So it's not exactly Mr. Big Sprinter.
What can you put out in a sprint, or what could you put out in a sprint? Because you used to race on the track, didn't you?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, my 200 time is nowhere near that of pretty much anybody who's decent. But on virtually riding, I had a turbo which had a maximum limit. It was a 1% accuracy, I think, and it had a maximum limit of 2,000 watts. And I blew it off the top of the 2,000 watts for 3 seconds. And bearing in mind that would put me, I think that when I did that put me through the sprint in about 10 seconds.
What was your watts per kilo?
I was at 20 something at that point because I was about 69, 70 kilos, I think, at that point. If you put it, that makes it 28, I think.
Yeah,
28 in the maths. So, yeah, it's not unheard of. But bear in mind that was just to go do the sprint and see how hard I could go. It wasn't in the middle of a race. And in the middle of a race, I'd take it back.
So, should we just say all things are relative?
And the other thing to remember, of course, is that weight changes during the course of the race. And until there is such a thing as a turbo trainer or a smart bike that weighs you instantaneously as you are riding and then constantly updates.
I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to. If you doubt something, do some research and find out how it is into context.
There speaks Professor Emma Martin. It's not a made-up title, believe me. So, yeah, if in doubt, it is doable. And we do like to think we double-check it. And 17 for a world-class sprinter. Definitely, and a world-class esports rider in here. Now, David Nitko. Oh, and the other thing is when you're on the turbo, it's much easier to sprint on the track. David Nitko will attest to this, I'm sure. That when you're on a mountain bike, on the road bike, or a track bike, putting out a sprint like that, you're also not banging off the barriers, coming off the track, probably going around somebody, worrying about what else is going on. When you're on the turbo trainer,
you haven't got to think about anything.
All you do, you can close your eyes and do it. You're not going to go off out of the and hit the deck. So it's a whole different discipline.
Well,
comparison is the thief of joy. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
It isn't, but I tell you what is worth it is the Sunday Race Club, because the Category 2 pack are hitting the Dragon's Nest for the first time. Newkey, Sladek, Spina, Morel, Damsgaard, Walter, Nair, Bjorklund, Bjarhed, Starzinski, Trzynski. They are all in the mix. So is Phil Graves and Stepanak. David Nitko is there as well as Damon Kiesnowski. They're all pushing on the base of the climb. This Category 2 pack, I am expecting this to stay together. We mentioned last time they were on the Dragon's Nest course, 3 seconds separated the top 12 riders. This is a well-matched group. We've got one rider off the back at the moment on the climb. The rest are still dialed on top of each other, and we drop in with Simon Walter, who recently took his first win on the Sunday Race Club back in qualifier 2 in May. He took that in a sprint. 1.8 seconds separated the top 20. If he is there or thereabouts today, this is a man to watch.
It definitely is. His progression has been brilliant to watch, and definitely one of those riders who I think we're going to see continuing to improve. Will it be his day today? They're on the Dragon's Nest climb for the first time. Let's run you through some quick results in that climbs competition. Llewellyn taking the climb segment with in Category 6 from Winfield, and Wolf in Category 6. In Category 5, it was Matilla from Yanichi, pardon, Yannicki, followed by Philippe Tortoretto, Mohamed Mukhtari, and Rudolf Bertrand rounding out the top 5 in Category 5. In Category 4, over the top of the climb for the first time, it was Dorvin Ellos from Ryan Giuliano, Henrik van der Zandt, Nick Scolari, and Philippe Marin scoring those points. In Category 3, going over the top of the climb, Niall Batty, who we know has gutted to miss the big long climb of the endurance climb, making up for it, taking away the segment on number 1 on the Dragon Nest climb in Category 3. So Batty from La Pera, from Blinsky, they were your top 3 riders in Category 3. But Category 2, we just seen Giselle Betty, and at the moment he's not in the top 3, and he is in the pressure position where the gap, I think, is going to break somewhere around about where he is if they're not careful. He's just come across to the leading 5 riders, and there's a little bit of compression here as we go off the 12% down into the 10% section and falling. This little section should allow a regroup, so that split that was just starting to form was there. Riders being distanced off the back. However,
just 2, that is all.
Yeah, it's not a lot, is it? I think we're going to see another split here. SS on the power on the front right-hand side of your screen. They are pushing Category 1 are on the way round, aren't they, Emma? But
they are indeed.
They're not yet
at the base.
So Category 2 still on this climb. SS leading from Theme with Stepanek, with Velis, Bjarhead all in the mix. Category 2, it's a real bun fight out there.
A bun fight.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, if the buns are flying, but Velez, SS Stepanek, and Rios absolutely dialing here. Carl Ken is on the front. I tell you, that rider has been riding really well at the moment. They're about to come towards the top of the climb. This group of Category 1 riders, which looks to me to be the pack, are indeed coming towards the base of the first ascent of the Dragon's Nest climb. Now the climb is looming, but the pack being led by Kroll. Joel Lewis is there, Jason Osborne, Jasper Paradians, Ollie Jones, Jeffrey Malure is the rider in the green skin suit, having set the fastest time through the first sprint. Stuart Miller is here, Lyndon Milostic, Hayden Pucker. Look at the pace of the pack. You can see Kroll, zone 2 at the moment. This is steady pace for them. This is Sunday cake run riding, not Sunday race club riding.
Oh, Sunday cake run riding. Maybe I might have to do that. Actually, I think post Sunday race club, I might be inspired to go out on my bike and go watch some more bike racing in one of our local races. One of our young riders in the region out racing in the area. But of course, we're going to get to the end of our esports. So much racing going on. Start of the mountain bike World Cup Awards again, round 3 starting to hit. We've got the Giro in action. We've got riders, some of our youngsters riding in the under 70s women's Kent Wevelgem. There's so many great races, so much great racing out there. Don't forget, of course, you need to subscribe to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. If you're watching on the Sunday Race Club, please do give it a subscribe, get a like, get notified whenever the MyWhoosh YouTube channel goes live with lots of great information, details, and of course, more news to come on the MyWhoosh Championship that's coming in August. That will be heading your way. Do make sure that you click the links and get your email down for the newsletter.
Well, yeah, indeed. That's exactly what you need to do to be right on board and up to date. Ivan Nuki from the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. You can see him there on our screens at the moment. Look at concentration on his face. He's up and out of the saddle. He wants to stay with the leaders as this group come to the top of the climb. The polka dot banner is not far away. Zach Nair is up there with him. They're riding around zone 6 at the moment, and it's SS who goes underneath the polka dot banner first. He switches jerseys very quickly, but keeps those trademark blue shoes, blue glove, blue cap.
It's something that has been SS's trademark for a long time. Long may it continue. I really do love it when we've got consistent riders for a long time on the platform.
Look at the gap.
Yeah, 4 seconds now. That is not going to stick on the way down here, but it's an indicator that this climb is suiting him. I'm not sure I would push on with the volume of riders behind. You can just see that his watts per kilo have dropped to 2.2. Betty behind him, actually freewheeling for a fair section of that. That's a huge group of riders there behind Emma.
It is an absolutely massive group of riders, and there is a split. I'm looking at that thinking, where is the split? It's a good question.
It's a long way down.
Well, it is, and I think there's still around 30 riders
Wow.
in the mix in Category 2 at the moment. This is Category 1, however, and Jason Osborne has come to the fore. He's got 4 riders for company, and you can see, look at that. Osborne with 5 riders, a small gap and then a bigger group. So Osborne, Jones, Yasin, Van Elst, Woo, Safra Zadie. I am not surprised by those names.
And behind it's a group of 7 riders, and then riders in 1s and 2s as the pressure is reapplied by Jason Osborne, the world champion in the rainbow stripes. On the move for Jasin answering this, Jones and Van Elst as well. And Van Elst could go really well on a course like this today. He's got the maximum power. He's got a great kick on a steep climb, and he can really surf the wheels as well. The longer climbs, the Yebel Yaces, the Paso Altos of this world, they really do take its toll, I think, on Van Elst. Whereas when it's like this, he really excels. He can just dig that bit deeper and pull something special out of the bag.
Right, Safra Zadie at the moment, who needs to pull something special out because he's got to push on those pedals and close that gap. He can't let it go. The gap back to Knudsen, 5 seconds. So if we stick with this mix, we've got Safra Zadie and Jones. They are boss moves only. We've got, Safra Zadie and Osborne. They are boss moves only. We've got Vuyasin and Jones. They are Alpha Jaw. We've got in the mix here Marshall Woo. Marshall Woo is part and parcel of that BZR Esports along with Stefan Van Elst. So we've actually got 2 riders from AlphaJaw, 2 riders from Boss Moves Only, and 2 riders from BZR Esports in the leading group. But Safra Zadie needs to push. He needs to get back on that wheel.
And this is where the damage that's being done by Osborne here is hurting his teammate. And this is the problem that he's got to balance. Attacking to take the win, maybe go clear and open a time gap at the front, or does he get Safra Zadie back on, which then guarantees they've got 2 riders against 2 riders against 2 riders in that front group. Back off too much, Knudsen comes up, and Knudsen is a teammate of Safra Zadie and Vink.
He is, and I have to say, I mean, I know he's going. I wouldn't. So for me, this is about Osborne potentially might want the polka dot, but for me, that's a really fine balance at this point in the race. I would want side Safra Zadie back on.
I'm not arguing, and I'm not necessarily agreeing because it's evolving in front of my eyes here on the screen. You can see that behind Joseph Jasin and Woo are together, but Van Elst has also been distanced, as has Safra Zadie.
Well, Safra Zadie will now go back into the group behind. The question is, will that group behind close the gap down now? They've got a downhill and a flat run through the Tokyo Sprint before the next climb. How much can they get back on? But on the Dragon's Nest climb for lap 1, Osborne takes the top spot in Category 1, 4 minutes 37 seconds, a lot quicker than SS in Category 2, 5 minutes 27. Noel Beatty takes Category 3, Dorvin Ellos takes Category 4, Tavi Matilla takes Category 5, and Simon Llewellyn, the fastest rider up the climb in Category 6.
And that time 4:37. Very interesting time there. It's impossible to compare to the previous times in the Dragon's Nest race because there is a shorter segment that's been used previously at 1.3k. So time's not comparable, but I would suggest that's not necessarily the fastest time we've seen up there, and not necessarily the fastest time we will see.
Okay, let me give you a little update on that Category 1. So Jason Osborne set the fastest time, then Vuyasin, Woo, Jones, Van Elst, and Safra Zadie, who are all in that leading group. The chase group, Tugels, Kaminsky, Knudsen, Paradians, Power, Plantero, Pedersen, Milostic, Kroll, Pucker, Andreasen, Jacobs, and Harris. So those are the top 19 riders in Category 1 up and over the climb, but they are no longer together. Well, I'll tell you something. Jones, Vuyasin, Osborne, and Woo, the 4 riders are now clear. Safra Zadie has gone back into the pack.
Meanwhile, dropping in at Category 4, you just see Nicholas Spratt at the moment leading in a Category 4. Nick Scolari, the nearest rider to him, currently 24 seconds back. He's got company at the moment. Spratt on a bit of a charge here at 27 kilometres. He's just got over one of the peaks and just dropping his way back down again. And remember, we've got the Dragon's Nest climb to come once again. It's the 35.6 kilometre mark, though, that we have to get to before we see that polka dot banner again. Big move this by Sprout.
It is. I was just going to say one quick thing about the Category 1 race.
Go, sorry.
Because Osborne, by that move, and Safrazadi going back into the group, now Vuyasin and Jones are in that leading group. For me now, Osborne has got to go clear of that group because Osborne has got to put a big time gap in to Vuyasin and Jones because he didn't allow Safrazadi to get back on.
No pressure. Let's see what happens. It'd be very interesting. And remember, a lot of the teams are in conversation. They will have communications between themselves and their teammates and potentially DS, keeping an eye on what's going on in the racing as well. Really, really critical for communication to know what you're going to do with those team tactics. How are you going to play this out as you go racing? We see that in Category 4, I think, because I think Spratt is very much aware that Giuliano, Pino and Cadiz, Giuliano's in the group behind him. Cadiz and Pino are both good sprinters. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they play that.
But take a look at this in Category 2. This is interesting as well because Patrick Stepanak has gone clear of the group. He's 19 seconds clear of the group. They're at 19.3 kilometres into the race, which means the climbing is about to start again. At the midsection of this race, before they drop back down into the Dragon's Nest, there are 2 climbs before the big descent run into the Dragon's Nest for the second time. And Stepanak now has 20 seconds. He's gone out in time trial mode, and this is serving him really well.
And if you think about that in comparison to the time to get up the Dragon's Nest climb, where you're talking sort of 4 or 5 minutes, it's a sizable chunk of time to take on the run in. At the moment, Patrick Stepanak is the runner. He's doing a good job there, and he's opened that up. Gaddazi and Hansen are his teammates. Can he make that count for them? Can he take it over the top? His best performance so far in Category 2 in the Sunday Race Club, 13th place. So
can I just tell you something?
Out with a bit of intent.
Now, interestingly here, Jason Osborne has gone to the back of the group. He's sitting in the draft. He's not pushed on. He's letting Jones and Vuyasin, because they are the team with 2 riders in this front group, do the work. Now, what's interesting is Safrazadi and the rest of the pack are now coming. Safrazadi's trying to transition across. He's pulling the rest of the group with him. So he's not going to get over without the rest of that group. I think this is all going to come back together again. So we're going to see Vuyasin, Wu, Osborne, Jones, Safrazadi, Knudsen, Van Elst, etc. all come together. And the sprint is coming too.
The sprint is coming, but I'm not sure it's going to affect it. I'm not sure you're right there, because I think that 5-second gap back to Knudsen may stick. Safrazadi has got across. I think he had just enough air in behind him. We're going to see whether or not they do come back to them. Here they come behind. You can see the work that's now having to be done. And I think it's going to be Andreasen and Plantero with Kaminski coming as well. They are going to make it, but at what cost?
Well, Tugels is there as well.
That for me is the key thing here. They've dropped Puckers at 20 seconds back. The group have come back together at the front. It's a very select group, though.
It is a select group and one with some really strong riders in it now. So Kaminski sets the fastest time through the sprint. He was riding to close that gap. I don't think that will stand. Maciek Skierski takes it in Category 2 again. Rick Van Erck dominates Category 3 yet again. Bart van den Eek out this time takes Category 4. That's a good move. Francisco Sobrino takes Category 5. And Matthew Hooker does the double in Category 6.
Great racing, interesting racing.
Ooh.
Lead group as one together, attack off the front here, and it is Knudsen who has just come back into that group together. who is now on the attack on the front. You just saw him push through, just eases off a little bit here. Jones on the chase here. Nobody wants to let Michael Nussen go. They know the danger of letting Michael Nussen go. He's an absolutely class act. And if you gave him enough seconds, it's not going to be very many. He could take it to the finish, and he's brave enough and bold enough to try that move. And in responding to him, his teammates can sit back, and he's leaving the rest to try and close that gap back down. So, as these riders continue to push, they've got the gap. You can just see the riders in the distance coming round the corner behind. Hayden Pucker has company with Andreasen here, but 15 seconds is the gap to the group in front. Behind them, Kroll distance as well. This, Pucker and Andreasen have got to be ruined the fact that they are not in that leading group. They're going to have to push on here to get themselves inside the top 10 to stay clear of that group behind. Now, Matthias Van He, one of those riders I was talking about at the start of the show, currently out of the saddle in with these this group of riders, which is the lead group in Category 2. Grace, Bjorkland, Santo, Damsgaard in here, Kisnowski in here, Valeria Rios. We've got Simmons in here as well. Van He, this is a course to suit Van He. This has got his name written all over it for me, unless it gets out sprinted. And I have to say that when you were talking earlier in the show about Simon Walter, who was on our screens, he is full of confidence.
Can I say, when that sprint we were talking about with Simon Walter earlier on, back in qualifier 2 in May, I said there was 1.8 seconds separated the top 20 riders in category 2. It was Walter who took the win, Kalman, Nitko, Bjarhead, and then Van He. So he was right in the mix. And interestingly enough, this is another man who's regularly in the mix and regularly there or thereabouts, is Ross Fawcett. And you can see him in the mix in this leading bunch, part and parcel of the Hitmen squad who took the win last month in that final.
And he's definitely a rider who is multi-talented. He was riding the Grelot Sportif not all that long ago. Was that last week?
It was last Saturday.
Last Saturday. So racing in the Grelot. He did a good ride in that. Interesting to see back in the Pain Cave, though, and riding strongly in with this group. They're keeping himself in touch as we see SS go to the front in that polka dot skin suit as we continue to push here. It's not a huge part of the climb here. It's just rolling terrain that really tests the riders. It's quite reminiscent as a small scale version of the Zurich course, of the World's course, the World Road Race Championship course that we used before. As we got in with Rudolf Bertrand, one of our regular riders in the Category 5 race, and he's looking really composed. Interestingly, on the tri-bars, on the aero bars there, just making sure. It's really interesting because it allows you to rest the body. You're not having to pump the blood around and keep those muscles working. It gives you that little bit of a rest, that little bit of a chance to get some recuperation in, and you can just see he's just fueling up, ready to go racing strongly week in, week out. Going to be really interesting to see if he can make a difference here as we come in and through, because they're at 35.1k. Leaders on the road: Llewellyn, Silver, Molostic, Phil and Co. The leading three riders who were away in the Category 6 race have been brought back by that bunch. They're on the Dragon's Nest climb for the second time. And as you can see, Category 5 making the way around. They're not that far behind.
No, can I just say, we've just been with Rudolf Bertrand, the Canadian rider. Another Canadian rider in that pack, Robin. Hello, Robin. Nice to see you on the Sunday Race Club. Nice to see you in the mix, in the bunch. Robin joins us on a Monday and a Wednesday for live coaching.
Indeed. And is that also tomorrow?
Yes. I shall ask him how much he's enjoyed the race.
Okay, so you're going to be chatting with the riders as well as doing.
Oh yeah, and that's I have to say, if you haven't joined the live coaching, do jump on board. It is absolutely fabulous, and the communication between the rider and the coaches and the community is really, one of the joys of it. It really does keep you motivated and keeps you going through those hard efforts. And don't forget, as well as chat and community, there are hard efforts on live coaching. We do love those bits as well.
It's not just a social club.
Oh, no, 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 definitely not. Structured training, structured plans, and different coaches following different plans over the month. So take a look at what's going on and pick the workouts and the training schedules that work for you.
In with our leaders in category 2, I'm sure they have been thinking about how they're going to race this, what strategies, what of their weaknesses they need to train, and what of their strengths they're going to race here today. At the moment, Patrick Stapleton nicely tucked in
He's
with
back
this group.
in the
He
bunch.
is. You've got SS, Krasnik, Stepanek, Grace, Van Hiskierski, Nair. Paying really close attention. And I think in part because it's very easy for the gaps to open on this sort of roller coaster section as you make your way in and through. Now, left-hand side of your screen, you can just see the riders in category 1 just been closing down the gaps. Ollie Jones looking pretty active today, looking to try and open the gaps. Quickly closed down though, and I think Jones wants to make this hard for a long way. Doesn't want this to be an easy race.
Well, and I think that's it, isn't it? As we talked earlier on, and we did in the women's race as well, actually. With the two main climbs on this course, you look at those two climbs and you think they are going to be the instrumental segments. But as we have seen, look at the size of the pack in category 2 on the right-hand side of your screen. Big groups, because of the way the categories are matched and so closely matched, can go over the top of such a short climb together. There isn't 6, 7, 8, 9 kilometers of climbing to spread the gaps. These are short climbs at 2 kilometers in length. And with the well-matched groups, they can go over together. So somewhere, somehow, the teams have got to utilize other tactics, or else it's going to be, well, it's going to come down to a sprint.
And that is always a gamble. You all know that it is a real I was going to say lottery, but it's not
a lottery.
It's not quite that random because, of course, power, pace, speed goes in there. But there is always the unknown. There's
always something you can't control.
Yeah, and okay, it's less than, as I said earlier, being in a different discipline, but you don't know how degraded everybody else's sprint is by the efforts that have been made so far. And because every single race, even if it's on the same race route, changes what effort has been done, how much draft riders been able to take, where they've been able to take that. That still affects sprinters, and we do see great sprinters with fantastic, phenomenal kicks that they can repeat time and time again. And I heard it said recently that a sprinter, even if they are absolutely on their last legs, they've been repeatedly dropped on the climbs. If they come in to the finale with the lead group, you cannot discount them out of taking a sprint win because it's that kick, it's that power that is absolutely key. Now, interested to see that the teams here in category 5 just coming alongside Roger Teron, one of the riders who's part of that wheelies racing team that we talked about at the start of the show. Just seeing them come alongside him at the moment, and good to see Roger Teron and looking good for the wheelies team. Be interested to see where they finish in that team competition as they make the way up. We're going to drop in with Wilson Villada at the moment. He's a part of that category 5 group who are slowly closing in on the leaders in category 6. They are up the road. Interestingly, Simon Llewellyn, who was on the attack and put the fastest time on the Dragons Climb #1 in category 6, has been distanced by the leaders in category 6. They're just going past him now. You can see both of our polka dot skin suits together there in categories 5 and 6. But up at the front of the race, Sebastian Wolf in category 6 has got company not far behind. Riley Milostic, David Winfield, David Milano, Benjamin Hoy, Junior Silva with him. Arrego not that far behind. I mean,
now,
that close. That gap could come together.
Yeah, it's 4, 5, 6 seconds across that top group there. And bearing in mind, it's a 9.4 kilometer run to the finish that is either flat or downhill when they get to the top of the climb, and they are nearly there. They've got 300 meters, 250 meters to go. this could well be lining up here as a really exciting race. So Riley Milostic, the young rider from Australia, coming up. That family, the entire family, have class. Junior Silva is in the mix, a rider from Brazil. Sebastian Wolf, the German rider, on the front. David Milano, Benjamin Hoy, Julio Arrego, all in the mix there. And the gap is getting closer. They are bringing it back down. Pablo de Manuan's had a phenomenal month, and he is there as well. This group, for me, we're going to see come together, and it's going to be interesting now, because on this long run to the finish is where we may well start to see match being made from the later starting races. So here on the top corner of your screen, you can see the purple jerseys of Category 6, Junior Silva. Look at that, stomping on those pedals, trying to keep that gap closed. But the blue jerseys of Category 5 are coming. Now, they're going to come up onto the chase group first. And depending upon when that chase group get caught, if it's on the downhill, that chase group are going to tuck into that Category 5 pack, and potentially they will get towed back to the leading group of Category 6. This is where it gets really challenging and really difficult, and it is where the race may well come together.
So over the top, it's the Dragon's Nest climb, and number 2, Dunn Silver from Wolf, from Winfield, Milostic, and Milano. Those are the 5-point scorers. 5 points for Silver, 4 for Wolf, 3 for Winfield, 2 for Milostic, and 1 for Milano. But behind, looks like Arrego, de Manuel, and Hoy are not that far behind, and they could come up to those riders. Meanwhile, Category 5 heading up towards the summit as well. Here at the moment, this is a bigger group, but they're coming at speed here. They're closing in on Drew Abbott, the Category 6 rider, just in front. And looks like Pulaka is going to push on hard here. Can Pulaka get this this time around? The Category 5 riders, last time it was Matilli, Yannicki, Tortoretto, Mokhtari, and Bertram. This time around, that has definitely changed. It's Pulaka from Gavira, from Yannicki, Peterson, and Dawson. It could well be it's Yannicki who's got the jersey he has. So, Yannicki, the rider who is going to be taken away, subject to riders coming from behind at speed.
So,
that's skin suit, the polka dot competition.
So, at the top of the Dragon's Nest, number 2, in Category 6, 9 riders go over in contention. In Category 5, 11 riders go over in contention.
Those 11 riders, with about 6 riders behind, chasing, but I think it's 6 versus 11. So it's a big ask, because you've got so many riders in that front group. Now let's drop in with Category 4, left hand side of our screens. They're going to be our next riders who should be, or next. Nicholas Spratt was clear solo. He's got Ryan Giuliano now for company, but behind him you can see you've got Elos, you've got Kennett in there. They're coming, and coming at speed is Elos, the polka dot skin suit wearer, coming into the base of the climb.
And Van der Zandt is with Kennett.
I'll tell you something, Elos wants these points here. Look at that. He has powered past Spratt, powered past Giuliano. Dorvin Elos, if the climb was the end of this race, you wouldn't doubt him for taking the win, but he's got the descent, he's got the run to the finish line to go. But Dorvin K. Elos, what a ride by him. And that was all done. I mean, he kept himself in contention by working hard, but look at the gap he opened. He flew past him on that climb.
Well, and it's not something he hasn't done before. We do know Elos is a really strong rider. He's a strong sprinter as well, actually, when he puts his mind to it. And there he is. You can see him on the screen. It took some effort, because look at that.
And that was a sprint kick, wasn't it, over the top there? I mean, to go past at that speed.
You know, the head is hung, the effort is there. You can see the deep breathing as he desperately tries to recover on the downhill. His heart rate is 181, and he's trying to drop it, but he's having to pedal now as the rest of the riders in the pack come up, and it is indeed Squilari and Spratt. Oh my goodness, you do not want to be in a Squilari Spratt sandwich.
You definitely don't. I'll tell you something as well. Giuliano was right in the mix. He was on the wheel with Spratt, and he was the one of the riders that Ellis had gone past initially. Squilari has done a great ride up there as well. I'll tell you something. Category 4, it's still a lot. Will they come back? It's a long way down this descent from that 37.6 kilometre marker that signals the summit of the Dragon's Nest climb the second time through, right the way through to our race finish at 47.0 kilometres.
Well, category 1, look at this. They are all tucked in. And my question is, how far back is Hayden Pucker? That's one thing I would like to know. But 8 seconds. There we go. Hayden Pucker, transition from the group. He's 8 seconds back off the back of the group and he's pushing strongly. That's an interesting one as well. But Osborne here on the front. Absolutely. Knudsen, Jones, Wu, Van El, Safrazadi, all going with him. He's on the descent at the moment. They're going to do a flat land transition, and then they're going to go into the base of the Dragon's Nest climb for the last time today. This is a leading pack in category 1, and they are motoring. Knudsen picks up the mantle. That is Osborne's teammate. They've got Safrazadi in there as well from the Boss Moves Only squad. Michael Vink is a long way back. These 3 riders, well, they are going to be the 3 counters here today for the Boss Moves Only. Jones is here. So is Kaminsky. So is Vuyasin. Those are the 3 counters for AlphaJaw. We've also got in here Tugles. We've also got in here Wu and Van Elst. Wu and Van Elst are from the BZR Esports squad, but their 3rd rider, well, that would be Power, Paradians or Milostic, are not in this leading group.
Those sprinters who we were highlighting just how hard they can kick, being a distance as they come in and through over the climbs, being pushed back at the moment. Now, let's dive in with category 3. They are coming up towards the summit of the Dragon's Nest climb for the 2nd time of asking. And the first time of asking, it was Batty from Lepera, Kaplinski. They were your top 3 riders. Cameron was in there as well. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can hold out. You certainly can't discount Guarin, who was in the top 5 as well. Cameron, Patterson, Blazy, Yanni, Oya fell, but I was sure outside the top 10 riders on climb number 1, inside the top 10 here as they push towards the top. It's Kaplinski who's gone for it now. Kaplinski opens up the throttles. He wants to take away the points here. He knows that it's up for grabs. Batty's trying to respond here. He's in the polka dot skin suit. It's going to be Kaplinski who goes over the top. Batty has to get 2nd place, I think, to go through. If he's going to take the points, he does. He takes those points. He's held on to that skin suit, and that was about the sprint over the top. Had he come over 3rd place, I think he would have tied on points with Kaplinski, and that would have put him into 2nd place based on the last result if the points are tied. So, really interesting move there. Batty taking the overall in that climbs competition. Category 2, they are a little bit further out. We've got to give a little bit of a
riders. Sorry, Matt. 23 riders in that leading group in category 3 over the top of the Dragon's Nest climb this time around. Just a reminder, it's 9.4 kilometers to the finish, downhill or flat.
It's going to be a real push. Just to watching the screens update, you had how many?
23.
I've now got 28, and that shows you just how quick the riders are behind. But those gaps have opened and they're in 1s and 2s versus a bunch. Now, let's dive back in with categories 2 and category 1. Category 2, right-hand side of your screen. Big group all together heading towards the climb. Category 1 on the left-hand side, smaller group, and the pressure is on. They are really winding this up as they make their way through the 32.5 kilometer marker. And they're just a little bit further behind. Ollie Jones on the move. And the reason he's on the move is that the rider in front of him is a certain Jason Osborne. And he's the rider he wants to pull back. The polka dot skin suit is on the shoulders. It is being worn by the world champion Osborne. Osborne pulled back by Jones. Said that was a team move there if there ever was one, because Jones did not want Osborne to get a big enough gap on the climb to make it easier for the 2nd and 3rd counters in the team. Now, if the leading rider gets a minute gap, 2nd, 3rd counters have to get at least 30 seconds each, or one of the riders be better than another of the team riders by 30 seconds. It adds up. You've really got to make those times count, and I think for me that's what's really key here. If you've got a rider going solo off the front for a win at the finish, which is going to be a big ask given that it's a downhill run to the finish,
here you go.
You're really going to be in trouble. Now, Category 5 are closing in on the Category 6 leaders. They're going to come together at 43.1k, so less than 4 kilometers to the finish. Will they blast past like a dragon swooping on its prey, or will they be in there, get the talons in, and can Category 6 hold the wheels? At the moment, we are seeing Category 6 riders coming up. Alex has come up with the group there. He's used the draft, and it's going to swell the number of riders at the front of the Category 6 race. I think that's going to be 9 or 10 riders at a guess. Emma's busy taking a double check here.
Yeah, I think that is indeed 9 riders.
Wow. So 9 riders in Category 6 coming together. Category 5 are in the mix as well at this point in time.
So 8 riders in Category 6, 9 riders in Category 5 coming together at the head of the race. That's giving us 17 riders in the leading group, and it is a mixed bag of Category 5 and 6.
It is. I'm just watching one of our Category 6 riders just sprint onto the back. And at this stage, that's something you don't want to be doing. There is, between here and the finish for Categories 5 and 6, there is nowhere where you can break this with a climb. It's downhill.
You can
or
break
it's flat.
it. You can attack on that descent, you know.
But you've got strength in depth behind, because there's such a big number, because you've got 5 and 6 together. I think for me, this is about position and not losing draft. Who can recover fastest before the finish, so you have as much left for the sprint? It's not about attacking, it's about recovery.
Well, it's going to be really interesting, but it's also interesting to take a look at the size of this Category 2 pack. So at last count, there were 30 riders in the group in Category 2. SS is the rider on the front at the moment. Nair, Nitko, Betty, Krasnich, Theme, Bert, Kane, all towards the front of the group. 1 or 2 riders just getting slightly distanced now as the gradient starts to kick. Well, it actually starts to descend, because we're on a little bit of respite here. And that is one of the things about the Dragon's Nest climb. There are really 3 stages here. The first kicks to 15%. It then drops to about 2. The second goes to 14%. It then drops back down again. Then the final kicker goes to 12% at the end. It's a nasty little sting in the tail. And the Category 2 riders are now on the climb, good and proper, for the second time. Category 1 are coming behind. Look at that. That pack has swelled, and it's swelled because they've picked up Sladek and Starzinski, the Category 2 riders. But that is the polka dot banner. The Dragon's Nest climb for the second time today, and the Category 1 leading pack have just gone under it.
I'll make a prediction. None of the Category 2 riders will be the leaders of Category 1 in about 30 seconds time, because the power has gone down. It's Jason Osborne. He's seen his opportunity. He does not want to lead this to a sprint, and everybody knows that now is the moment. You cannot hesitate. You have to go for this, and you have to get on the wheels. Woo, very aware of that. Up onto the wheels. We've seen Woo follow Osborne in previous Sunday race clubs. He's been one of the few riders who can follow the blistering pace that's put down by Osborne when he's on the attack. Jones is coming after him, so is Chugel, so is Knudsen. Nobody in that group wants to let this gap go. They know that there is the chance to come back if the gap is not too big at the top, and there are 2 tactics and 2 ways to play this. Pace yourself on the climb, minimize the gap if you're chasing, or go with that race leader and hold on and hope that you're in the right position. Woo has got to keep working, though, and I think his legs have gone. I don't think he can get there, but can he? He's coming back again.
Well, he is indeed, and this is not just about the individual competition at play here today in Category 1. This is also about the team competition, because Alpha Jaw are in the mix, Boss Moves Only are in the mix, BZR Esports, well, I think that third counter is going to be a problem for them, but this is the head-to-head between Alpha Jaw and Boss Moves Only.
But remember, there are prizes down to 7th place in that team competition, and BZR, whilst they might not have the riders in position to challenge Alpha Jaw and Boss Moves Only for the top 2 spots, they could take 3rd place, but they could, if they get this wrong, end up in 7th or out of the prizes. That is why it's so key to keep on pushing. Now, let's jump across in with our riders heading in towards the finish. 47 kilometers is our finishing line. 46.4 kilometers is the distance the riders have covered. They have descended. This is going to be a run for the line. Who will take away the overall victory of all the riders? There's no prizes for that, but there's a whole lot of pride for being called over the line first. But also, we've got 2 race categories who are fighting for individual and team prizes as they come in. We're in with Mohamed Mukhtari at the moment, who said he'd had a great race earlier. Here we go.
Well, Adam Dawson takes to the front. Riley Milostic is in Category 6. He too takes to the front. So it's Dawson in Category 5, Milostic in Category 6. Palaka is coming in Category 5. Fielder is coming in Category 6. But Adam Dawson is going to take the win in Category 5, followed swiftly by Riley Milostic in Category 6. Palaka takes second in Category 5. Fielder second in Category 6. Category 5 rounds out Justin Roy, Nathan Peterson, and Jan Yakiki. And then in Category 6, it's Milostic, Fielder, Orego, and Wolf. Category 4 coming flying in towards the finish with just 400 metres to go. And it's Dylan Kennett doing the flying at the moment. He's got his dragon wings. He's breathing fire behind him. And Dylan Kennett has absolutely launched himself towards the line here in Category 4. Nick Squilari and Dorvin Ellos are trying to come fast behind. Are they going to run out of road? Can Kennett hold this? I think Kennett is going to hold this. However fast Squilari and Ellos come behind him, Dylan Kennett takes the win in Category 4 for the second time of asking this month. Dorvin Ellos is going to come through and win the sprint from Nick Squilari for second and third, and Henrik van der Zandt is going to come through for fourth.
Fantastic racing in our first three finishes that come in and through. We're just going to drop back into Category 2 very quickly because SS, the leader of the climbs competition after the first climb, Dragon's Nest Climb 1, has just repeated that same feat of climbing faster than anybody else and soloing away. And SS now takes away a top spot on climb number 2 and takes away top spot in the climbs competition overall. That's the climbing done. Has he got enough left in the legs? Can he recover before we get into our finish? Let's do some very quick team results. Category 6 BMC Startup currently leading that competition from Spinergy, who are in second place as they came in over the line. In Category 5, the Level Avengers coming through ahead of Level Up, and then the BMC High 5 squad. And it's just getting the results coming in. 8 seconds separating the first two teams in Category 4. Peak Power Racing taking the team competition win from BMC Racing, with the Anzacs coming through in third place. Right, back to the individual race, back to Category 3.
Well, yes, indeed. And I can tell you, it's only 28 seconds separating the top two teams in Category 5. It is a close one today.
Fast racing, we're in with the lead group here in Category 3, as you've seen. It's fast, it's furious, and it comes round that right-hand 90-degree turn. Your right-hand turn leads you straight into that finish pretty much, and that is really going to test the riders now. These riders are making the way down. They're going to drop down here. This descent is the last chance to pick up a lot of speed. The Category 3 riders have Category 4 races in there. And remember, of course, they're not going to sit back and just let Category 3 get on with it. The Category 4 and 5 riders will want to use them to maximize their team's chances by minimizing the time. This descent will be key. Who's going to push? Will anybody expend energy here?
It's Ivo Sir. We saw him on our screens earlier on, and we saw him racing hard. He's racing strong. There he is again. Look at the cadence. 93, 94, 95 revs per minute. He's picking up the cadence, and that's where the attack is coming from. Zach Pedersen has gone with him. So Patterson has gone with Sir. Carsten Mayer is there as well. So is Jan Kaplinski. They're making the most of the momentum on the downhill. They're taking the run. They're picking up pace. They're at 48 kilometers an hour. They're on the flatlands at the moment, but the draft is strong here. Daniel Tidholm could be one to watch behind. Christopher Morgan, Pierre Fell, they are all in the mix here. Stan Van Velegum, Olga Kochkov is there as well. The push is on. It's Tidholm at the front with Kalman. Matthews Kalman has gone for it. He's gone for a long one today. It's 350 meters, 300 meters now till that finish line. Can Kalman hold it? Kalman's on the front. He's got a big target on his back at the moment. Guarin goes over the top. So does Kalman and Diduch. Andre Diduch is on the front. But Guarin is coming again. So is Becker. Diduch, Becker, Diduch. It's going to be Becker, I think, on the line from Diduch, from Kaplinski. What a race. I can actually tell you. Nicholas Becker got that from Jan Kaplinski, from Andre Diduch, Travis Barrett, and Juan Villarda Garin.
What a race finish in Category 3. And because there's so many riders in the front of the race, it means we can also bring you the team results. Remember, all, of course, the results at the moment provisional. Gold Grabbers taking top spots. They took the team win in Category 3 with Kaplinski, Kalman and Kochkov. They're counting riders. Behind them, 3.275 seconds behind, the WhatsApp team with Montoya, Arrego and Shure. And then in third place, take that. They were at 15 seconds down on the race winners, the Gold Grabbers, Kansara, Mayer, and Ridley, their team counters. The riders coming through in fourth place with Team Sirocco. That's Becker, Felt, and Gates. 51 seconds. That's the total team time. Hardly anything. That's
3 seconds separated.
Yeah, second to rider.
3 seconds separated the top 18 riders in that sprint in Category 3.
Phenomenal race finish in all of our race categories so far. Some of our riders going for a long one and it paying off. Some of them going for a long one and it not being so productive. Now, Jason Osborne just saying that you're going to work with me, and that's because he is clear at the front of
By
the
20
race.
seconds.
He has gone clear and he's got company now. A bit cheeky. World champion asks Category 2 riders for help. I think I'll be. I'm not sure there's an emoticon thingy that you can trigger.
Yeah, but hold on a minute.
My
Hold on a
response to
minute.
that.
They might be Category 2 riders, but they are fellow countrymen. They are both German riders.
Yes, and it may well be Justin Osborne has raced against them in the
You
past
never know.
in Germany in the national series, but it could also be that it is to the benefit of the Category 2 riders that they move as fast as possible because it's going to move them up through the field.
Yeah, and they're only 20 seconds down on what must be the leading group in Category 2.
Mantra now, do not let that wheel go. Do not let that wheel go. They have just caught the next rider, and that means that's another rider in to the fold there. That is going to be Coimbra, who goes through the Portuguese rider, and that now makes that 4 riders. As coming through the sprint Category 2, go through the Tokyo sprint for the last time there. So that is our last sprint section. And Category 2 just making the way through. Joe Warren actually took that sprint for Category 5 with the fastest time to date through that. It shows you, for me, that Tokyo sprint, the last sprint, it's all about race finish. Warren in there, you got Van Anikart, Van Erck, you got a Category 5 rider, Category 4 rider, a Category 3 rider, then 2 Category 5 riders. This is in time order, then a 4, then a 6 with Hooker. In fact, you've got Llewellyn in there as well. So you've got these riders coming through. They are really, really pushing.
Well, I can also tell you that this Osborne group are closing the gap down already in the time we've taught them going through the sprint. It's closed down by about 6 seconds. So it is falling fast. Now, the Category 2 leading group are going to need to do something about that if they want to stay clear of Santo, Darn and Coimbra, because they are going to come back into that leading group. And Mark Santo might be very happy about that. You can see him there. The effort to stay on Jason Osborne's wheel is strong, though. It really does take a lot of work to stay on the World Champions wheel, whether you're Category 1 or Category 2. The other thing to note, though, is Said Safrazadi is pushing on strongly with Marshall Wu behind, and that gap has come down as well.
It has indeed, and this is where Osborne maybe starts to pay the price for the effort. But I tell you something, this is going to be about holding on as long as you can in these 3 riders. They really are pushing. This is going to be for the team move. Interestingly, through the sprint, the fastest Category 2 time is only the 15th fastest sprint time. It shows you that Category 2 are thinking about this race finish. Yep. There's a big group. Peter Milostic actually with that fastest time. The second fastest time was Betty. He's in 23rd place overall. The time of Jones, Safrazadi and Co chasing in the sprint section, Knudsen, Wu, Jones, Safrazadi, Vujasin going through the sprint with Pucker and Van Els, and I make them all faster than Osborne through that sprint.
Well, I can tell you, because Osborne is sat with the Category 2 riders, it's just alternating his pace a little bit. Said Safrazadi and Marshall Wu are absolutely dialing it to go clear of the chase group. So Jones, etc. now, whilst he's been chatting, the gap has extended. It's now out to 11 seconds. And Safrazadi is the rider who has made that happen.
Second team counter for Boss Moves only. Wu will be the first team counter for BZR Esports, who are not going to be challenging the Boss Moves only squad. So it's in both in Wu and in Safazadi's interest for both riders to work together here and not be separated. Now, let's jump in with category 2 here. We're at 44.5 kilometres, and it looks like Giselle Betty, who had a fast time through the sprint, has really, really stretched his legs. SS has gone with him. It may well be that Betty and SS know that up against a pure sprinter, they may not be in with a chance of taking the win, but they might be if they can get away in a smaller sprint group.
Well, Betty absolutely dialing it here at the moment with SS on his wheel. Krasnich on the front of the pack. Well, he's not on the front of the pack anymore because he's not pushing on. Stepanak is, though, and Stepanak is the one who wants to close the gap at the moment by the looks of it.
Now, interesting move a bit further back as these riders come in through this. The run for the finish here. This run really going to be critical.
Out.
You've 2K. It's a long, long way to go, but you know what? Why not go for it? It's such a lottery. There's so many riders in Category 2. It is. It's really reached those odds now in Category 2. They're massive.
But it's really challenging, isn't it? I know. I've done a 2K out push because I got encouraged by my team to do it, and I lost it literally 200 metres before the line and ended up coming in fourth because you've got to be able to keep that fast-paced speed endurance going rather than just have that initial kick, because look at this. A little later on now, Zach Nair has put in a kick and he's closing the gap down to SS and Betty. All that hard work, they've used that match. They're about to come onto the descent now. And if Nair times this right, he can use the descent to his advantage, because this is the place you want to attack. You want to attack the descent to get the momentum, to get your speed up on that flat section.
You got to reset your mind. You got to go, okay, I put the attack. It didn't work out, but I have hurt people. Other people who maybe got a better sprint have had to work to bring this back. I can do a repeated sprint at a lower level. Yeah, I can't do 25 watts per kilo like Chris Hoy, but you know what I can do? I can kick and kick again. And by breaking this up and by making people chase, I've taken some of the sting out of that sprint. So at the moment, right-hand side of your screen, you've got your leaders in Category 2. On the way down, 4 riders, Betty, SS, Nair, and Van here at the moment with a 4-second gap back to the chasers behind. Left-hand side of your screen, Jason Osborne is gathering behind him. He's like the Pied Piper at the moment, and they're all following in his wheel as they head in towards that finish. He's at 45.8k, 46.5k. Right-hand side of your screen, Zach Nair trying to light it up early. And the run into the finishing Category 2.
Well, he's got 400 metres to go, and Zach Nair is on the front, but SS in that polka dot skin suit is challenging him side by side. SS goes to the front, Nair jumps onto his wheel. Patrick Stepanak is sat there as well as Betty too. Betty's looking like he's coming, but Nikolai Damsgaard is coming hard and he's coming fast. He's done this before. Damsgaard often comes through. Jonas Bjarhead is coming with him. They go up and over the top. So Damsgaard, Bjarhead, Damsgaard. Bjarhead looks to me like he's going to take this, but Tattoo Koivunen is coming as well. Koivunen, I think, is going to do it. Tattoo Koivunen takes it on the line from Bjarhead. Oh, I am just going to need to wait to come through, but he does indeed. Tattoo Koivunen takes the win from Jonas Bjarhead. Nikolai Damsgaard, fast finish here. Christoph Thiem, SS, David Nitko.
Let's give you very quickly the teams. Goats team taking the win from Abus Esports, from the Hitmen, as Jason Osborne can see the finish line.
He can do indeed, and he's surrounded by a plethora of Category 2 riders, but Jason Osborne, the world champion, resplendent in the polka dot skin suit, has driven away on those pedals, away from the Category 1 pack behind. Jason Osborne is letting the Category 2 riders sprint it out for the lower positions. He doesn't need to. He's top of the tree. Jason Osborne comes underneath the banner for the win in Category 1 on the May final.
Well, great riding there, but the sprint's unfolding.
It is indeed, because Safrazadi and Wu are battling it out here. It's Safrazadi on the front. Marshall Wu's picking up the pace behind. They're coming side by side. The line is coming. Can Safrazadi hold this? Yes, he can. Marshall Wu takes second, and the unfolds behind as well, because Ollie Jones is coming to the line. Stefan Van Elst, Michael Knudsen, but it is going to be Jones, Kaminski, Van Elst rounding that out. So Jason Osborne takes first place today. Marshall Wu comes through in second. Said Safrazadi takes third. Ollie Jones fourth. Mikhail Kaminski takes fifth. Stefan Van Elst takes sixth. Michael Knudsen takes 7th place today in that Category 1 race. Category 2, Tatu Koinsinen took the win ahead of Jonas Bjarhed. Yes, 0.01 of a second. And Nikolai Damsgaard came through for 3rd.
In terms of the team competition, Bosman's only squad wrapping up the race win in Category 1. Osborne, Safasedi and Knudsen just ahead of Jones, Kaminsky and Vujasin, who are the Alpha Duo squad. They take 2nd place in that team competition, and the results still coming in thick and fast. Live here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, a fitting finale, which has seen Dragons conquered, it's seen the sprints unfold, and it has seen some fantastic racing right the way down to the line. I hope you're inspired to jump on board your bike and get out and ride. Jump on board MyWhoosh, download it on iOS, on Android, or on Windows. Get on board on one of the live coaching sessions with Emma kicking off on Monday, and lots of the great coaches are going to be there all week long. Do make sure, of course, that you make sure you subscribe. Tick the box. Be notified whenever MyWhoosh goes live with the Sunday Race Club with me, Matt Payne. You can follow me at Matt Fixer Payne on Instagram and on Strava as well, actually. You can get, if you want to see somebody really suffer, you can jump on board with Emma. It's at biking_Emma on Instagram. And don't forget, give MyWhoosh a follow. It is at MyWhoosh on Instagram and on Facebook. Do make sure that you are on the start line. We have 5 Sunday race clubs kicking off with the very 1st of June as our first one. 4 qualifiers in June, 1 final. Make sure you are on board. I'm really looking forward to it. Emma, sum up today's racing in 3 words.
Fast, furious, fantastic.
You didn't drift at all on the way in summing that up. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the production team who stitch all of this together, and everybody who makes the MyWhoosh game. Don't forget, of course, you can always say thanks to them. Something that's not necessarily done just by us. So everybody who has said thanks to the team, do say thank you. It really is appreciated. It's a thankless task quite often. Emma, any last words?
See you in June.
And with that, it's time for us to say
goodbye.